Not every place I stay in China is so fancy like this hotel with a huge swimming pool, a beautiful view from the room, which by the way is massive. And also, traveling through China is not as nice as it looks through the eyes of the camera. It is a mess and it is complicated because the government want to check everything you do. So you have to check in, check out your passport all the time. They check your bags under metal detector all the time. When you enter in the subway, when you enter in the station, when you enter and exit from the platform to go on the train, you have to scan your passport. New day, new race. We are restarting the tea race today with Victor preparing Anji Bai Cha and also the Tsai Cha we had yesterday refired. It's like entering in a clean room. You got the white knuckles holding on a tie, keeping your feelings bottled up inside. They are sorting tea for a collision in the night. To really live, you gotta die. Breathe in, breathe out. Hey, come alive. Breathe in, breathe out. Look at the colors, colors, colors. So now I'm tasting two Longjing. This one is a high grade from this year. And the cheaper grade from this year is not yet available. So I'm tasting the one from the last year, just to have a reference to compare the two. Every green tea here is anyway stored in the fridge, so even after a year, they should taste pretty fresh. And then we have a tea that actually they call it Huan Cha, so like yellow tea, but it is a green tea. It is a relatively rare type of cultivar that is used here. So I'm just curious to try it out and see how it is. Here is how it looks. You can see the color of the Longjing that is darker than this Huan Cha, and it's clearly showing that the Longjing is fired at a higher temperature. I finally have a little moment for myself. Lily is giving a tea class in the city, and so I took the 4 green teas that I like the most and I'm brewing them again Gonfocha style. So no more 3 grams in 130 milliliter tea taster gaiwan for 4 or 5 minutes at 100 degrees. Here I'm using 85 degrees water and just 3 grams and brewing maybe for a minute or so. And of course the result is different. It is important to taste in the taster gaiwan because there you can take everything out of the tea. But at the end, you are not gonna brew this tea in that way. So before really deciding for a tea, I also want to brew them as I would do it at home and as probably you do it. So what do you see here is, for example, is the Bai Cha, is a Anji Bai Cha that I selected out of 5 that we tried today. And here you can have a look at the leaves. They are fairly white when, as expected, when brewed. Before the brewing, they are a little bit greener than other types that we had before, but just this one was the one tasting the best. It has a very sweet and light fragrance and taste, and reminds me actually a tiny bit of strawberries. In this one here, we have a tea from Sichuan. It is very fragrant, very different than this one. This is more slightly gently fruity, the Anji Bai Cha. Well, this tea that is called Let me see. It is here. Is Chiang Cha, and it is this here. This one is yeah, I say very fragrant, a little bit like there would be a hint of parfum. As I know it actually from Sichuan, they do a lot of these very fragrant tea. The price though is a little bit high, so although it is really a good tea, I don't think it's really, I wouldn't say worth the price. It's just that since it is not a famous tea, it's very difficult to sell if it reaches, if it fetch really high price. So yeah, this I leave it a little bit aside. Before that, I had other two tea, a Tsai Cha, very interesting. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna buy that, and also a Songyang Xian Cha. This is a very affordable tea. Is really the cheapest green tea you can get, made by hand, Gongfu-cha style, and it's a little bit lighter than the other. You have to be more careful when brewing, otherwise it can get bitter relatively quickly. But all in all, for that price, it's really good. So it's important also here to taste the tea blind, but not only, right? Blind just because you don't want to be biased. But then once you make up your opinion about the tea and you have given yourself a price tag, then it's worth, of course, checking the price and see if it matches with the quality. Because at the end, you cannot expect the same from a tea that costs $10 for 50 gram and one that costs $50, right? So it's, I would say that one for that price tag is really good, and I'm certainly gonna get it. Now I will taste two more teas that I had yesterday, two white tea. Lily here, she specializes in green tea. She's a green tea expert, she studied green tea, and she lives in an area that produces a lot of green tea. Nonetheless, her company, which looks fairly big, but is actually, she told me they have 18 employees, and still a family company. It's just driven by him and his son, by her and his son. So they also have tea fields all around in Zhejiang and also in Fujian. So there they produce also white tea and yancha, although it's not really their specialty. Sometimes some really good tea comes out of it. Many of them might not be at the level, right? But I remember a few years ago I bought from them a Baimudan Wang that I really liked it. This year was so-so, and I found though other two teas that might be interesting. One is a Huaxiang Mudan. They call it Mudan Wang, but it's not king. Like it's, for being king, it should have smaller buds and way more buds. So forget the one. Huaxiang, floral fragrance, Mudan. And then another tea that is called Huaxiang Bai Cha. So it's floral fragrance white tea. Both teas have good price, and I'm gonna compare them now. This is the Bai Mudan. And here on this side we have the Bai Cha. So it's basically a high-grade shomei, I would say. It's a shomei with some buds and leaves that are not too large. Now we are going to put them in the gaiwan. I warmed up the gaiwan already. Here and here, and we are going to brew them in Gongfu style. We have 90 degrees water. Yesterday we brewed them at 100 degrees for 5 minutes, and today we are doing more classic Gongfu style. They're both from 2021. The Baimudan is actually a good price for a Baimudan. The Shomei is a little bit of a higher price. They told me because the Baimudan was dried both at the sun but also with the use of some fan, while the Shomei was only dried at the sun. And it's more time consuming to do that, requires also nice weather. Probably this, maybe the first day was nice weather, then it was no sun up in the sky, and they had to dry it anyway to avoid that it becomes too, it remains too wet too long. Here we go. First one. And second one. The color, very similar actually. Let's have a look. Yeah, very similar color. Baemudan, the fragrance is more complex, and for the Shoumei is, yes, less complex and less complete in a way, but it has a nicer fragrance. The fragrance here is also good, is floral, but here is a higher note, is more really like almost smelling a flower directly. In terms of taste, we'll find out in a moment. I always wait a tiny bit, because when the water is too hot, your tasting buds can really grasp it all, right? They protect themselves because it's too hot and you cannot get it all. Yeah. In the taste, it has the classic powdery, furry taste of Mudan and Ingen. Also comes from the hair on the buds, but maybe not only of that. It's something really very typical. It's 2021, 3 years ago now, and you can tell by the taste it's not too fresh, it's not too old, so it's just there where it should be. Let's see the Shoumei. This, the soup, the tea soup is thinner, more fragrant, as I said before. Nothing at all of that furry taste that I was mentioning. That also is reminiscence of hay, in fact is often associated with hay. Here there is nothing of that, really nothing. And I actually really like this tea. What I will do is the following. I'll take both these teas with me, because I know that one of the next destination is for white tea. So I'll take them so that I can have a comparison, and I will keep in mind very well these Huaxiang Baicha, because it's not so common to find a white tea that is so floral, as simple as that. And we will see how it compares with others that I found on the way.